You know, this is and also Trovo, of course, as well as Wild Rift competitive. It's an incredibly important time to sort of get your feet in the competitive mindset and start to sort of think about the way that you play the game in a bit of a different light. But as you said, yeah, the loser of this, they won't walk away with nothing. They will take home 10,000 wild cores, which, you know, that's a decent chunk of in-game cash that you can use to just, you know, buy a couple of skins here and there. And who doesn't like just to take a couple of skins away from a tournament? So, you know, I think it's perfectly fine. Obviously, no one wants to leave at this stage, and hopefully 16-bit can get back on the horse and try and make this series more competitive. But I have a feeling that Liyab have just kind of been in control from the very get-go in this series. And again, they just seem to play around the neutral objectives. They rotate better as a team. At least this time, though, Kasaya, if we end up having a similar scenario where the 16-bit top laner or the Baron laner doesn't want to rotate, they are a Fiora, so they are designed to do that. So at least I can kind of say, well, that is what a Fiora is supposed to do. So.
Yes, for sure. For the meantime, this is quite a passive play. We did not see that 5 to 4 man invade coming up from 16-bit. Looks like they want to play safe because, of course, it's going to be risky if they fail to do so. Especially that they've got an Olaf jungle in here from the side of Liyab Esports. So if you talk about early damage, Olaf might be having that advantage in case even that 16-bit gear goes for the invade. So it's fine. But yeah, for the meantime, we can see that matchup in here for both lanes on the top and in the bot, but it was yeah, what do you say about the matchup that we've got both on the top side as well as in the bot side?
Well, I think in the top side, that this is a matchup that can be quite difficult for Camille in the early game. Also, like if Camille ever tries to use her hook shot aggressively, Fiora just riposts it and then will stun her back and get some free hits. So it's a matchup that is relatively easy for Fiora to play out because. Oh, well, I'm not sure about that, Wukong, honestly. Like, level 2 invading,
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Look at that first blood given to Camille on the side of Liyab Esports. That was, I mean, that was really not good to try to go for an invade, especially he was just all alone. And again, we're talking about an Olaf in the jungle, but for the meantime, we can see another fight ongoing into the middle lane. Looks like this Aurelion Stone might still be safe if he just go for the tower hug, but yeah, that was quite a bad start for that Wukong.
Well, I don't know why he did it. Like, they had no vision, so they had no vision of the enemy jungle. They didn't know where Olaf was. There was no confirmed position from the Olaf based on the vision that they had. They had no priority in the mid lane. We've just seen a 1v1 kill, by the way. Gragas just picks up a 1v1 there versus the Aurelion, so this is not looking good for 16-bit already. They had no priority in the mid lane. Gragas is easily able to rotate. Camille can jump over the wall easily with hookshot and get into the fight. I don't know what the thought process was there. And it's an Olaf. You don't win 1v1s the Wukong versus an Olaf. Who wins 1v1s versus an Olaf in the early game? The guy's a monster. I'm not entirely sure the thought process through that invade there. It wasn't the most sensible thing I've ever seen in the world. And you can see it's also put our 16-bit top laner behind as well. Like he's that matchup against Camille is winnable for Fiora, but it now feels like he's in the losing seat in that one too.
Yes, because of the first blood that Camille got a while ago, and again it was 2 assists given onto the Gragas as well as the Olaf as well, so that's something that really counts too. So for the meantime, what maybe 16-bit can do in here is to just go for the play safe, wait for the Wukong to just find the farm that he needs for his team and for himself especially. And yeah, actually it's fortunate for 16-bit that this is Liyab Esports going for the safer route. Even though they got the first blood for themselves. So I like it. I mean, this is still a good respect by Liyab Esports for up against the 16-bit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't take any chances, right? You know, you're one game away from qualifying and putting yourselves back into contention for this tournament. Liyab just want to play it super safe there. Then there's no point giving anything away for free. And you can see Miggy is now setting himself up towards that bottom side of the map. Malphite here now getting the vision control of that first dragon. You know, I would expect to see Liyab actually set up around this first dragon now. That you can see I think Miss Fortune. I mean, has she backed? She has backed. So she's picked up the components of the Blade of the Ruined King right now. So yeah, set up around this first dragon. I think they have the superior early dragon fight. You can see that the Wukong TP is not even interested in the slightest in coming to this dragon fight right now. He is looking to potentially tower dive Camille at top, but that's a free Infernal that you're giving away at this point.
Yeah, again, I think this is what Liyab Esports is doing so well. They're positioning themselves early on in the objective, but we can see the strategy of 16-bit as well. They got a priority on taking down the turret in the Baron lane, but for the meantime, other fight on going in here, 2v3 situation, and look at a nice answer by Rubik's, potentially even going for a kill for one target. Maybe Nixu will. Are they gonna go for the tower dive? No, unfortunately, that was not enough. And this is them, yes, taking down a turret up top, but not getting a kill, and them giving away the Infernal Drake onto Liyab Esports.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good defense of the tower. I actually think had the Rubik's just looked for a body slam engage there and hadn't actually used his ultimate and maybe used it at a later point, they actually would have picked up kills. The ultimate actually was not particularly well positioned from Rubik's for that fight. They could have got more out of it, but alas, they actually, as you said, have picked up a really, really solid response to the Infernal Dragon. Yes, you lose that one tower in the top lane, but you claim a tower in the bot lane anyway, so you've traded 1-for-1 towers. And picked up the Infernal Drake. This is an absolute win for Liyab, and they are definitely in the driving seat. And you can see item spikes have been hit here, Kasaya. We've got the Trinity Force, the biggest item spike for the Camille, already picked up. Liandry's is there for the Gragas. Blade of the Ruin King into Executioner's Calling. Executioner's Calling. I'm trying to work out why you would want Executioner's Calling this early on. There isn't really any major sources of healing coming out from 16-bit, but I guess it's just something that to prepare for the future if anyone decides to go for some lifesteal.
But hold a thought, because we can see Nixu in here getting bullied by the members of 16-bit. But for the meantime, that's just gonna leave them alone because they instead would want to take this turret. But the thing in here, there's no next objective upcoming down bottom part of the map, because we can see again, I think Liyab Esports just doing so well and going for that early position in the map. Where is the next objective? And then we're just gonna contest that area. And this is them maybe taking down another turret up top plus a Rift Herald for themselves. But for the meantime, though, they're gonna be answered back by 16-bit by taking down 2 turrets down bot.
This is a conscious decision, though, Kasaya. Like, this is not something that 16-bit aren't dumb. Like, they know what they're doing, right? They know they're giving away these neutral objectives by committing their jungler to the other side of the map. So this is a conscious decision to take what we call standing gold on the map, which is the turrets. That's gold that, you know, once it's gone, it's gone. Once you've claimed it, you've claimed it. And I'm guessing the idea for 16-bit is to utilize that gold and try and snowball from it, right? But they are effectively trading one turret for one turret in most of these trades overall. So realistically, Liyab are the ones that are coming out on top in a lot of these engages. But this is a strategy that 16-bit have actively looked to employ. And I'm wondering whether it's just because they're hoping to accelerate the item builds of their carries. Like, for instance, this Corki's gone. I don't like this build for Corki, by the way. I know it's on the PC, it's very traditional, but I think the Manamune is too slow for Corki in this game. But yeah, I'm just wondering if it's just like a pure decision to try and accelerate item builds rather than you care too much about the early objectives.
Oh, though they weren't able to take down the turret in the middle lane, though. I think they placed down the Rift Herald a little bit too early with just the minion waves, not really that empowered them much. I would rather put it down a little bit later than earlier. I mean, we've got a lot of time to utilize that Rift Herald. But, the chances coming from 16-bit, is it still on this time? What do you think so?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that they have managed to do here, and I think has actually lended to the way that they're playing with this Fiora rather well, is they have opened up the side lanes. So now, if you're in the bot lane as Fiora, you have only one turret left to threaten, which is that, especially when the Baron spawns, this will be important, is that inhibitor turret, the base turret. In the top lane, you're threatening another turret in the side lane. Maybe 16-bit are just saying, well, we're not going to group up for team fights at this stage in the game anyway, so we're not going to win these team fights, which I think is rather sensible, right? So we're not going to win these team fights in the early game. So we would rather just take the standing gold on the map by trading cross-map objectives. So they're doing some really good cross-map play in the early game. And then later on, you've got the Fiora in the side lane, who's just going to be able to split push like crazy. Almost no one can match Fiora. We do have the engage coming through, though.
Yes, engage indeed. 4v4 ongoing right now. Bullet time fully committed, but not really target up. targeting the proper, I mean, the members come from the side of 16-bit. They're gonna get the position on to taking the Ocean Dragon, but the answer coming up from the side of 16-bit will be an attempt to take down the tier 1 turret. Liyab Esports, but that's not gonna happen. Camille will be taken down, but the chase is still ongoing. Rubix doesn't really have the skills available for himself to try to chase the members of 16-bit. I mean, there was a tussle ongoing on the top side as well. It was the Fiora as well as the Camille. No casualty has happened, but that Baron, the Drake fight that happened a while ago, I think it was a good risky play coming up from 16-bit regardless.
Yeah, it was a 4v4, so they kept the Camille pinned to the side lane versus the Fiora, so like it made sense from that perspective. Maybe they felt they'd hit enough relevant item spikes that they were going to be competitive in these fights. And you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't the worst outcome. They didn't lose their entire team, and they were still able to threaten the fight, but they did end up losing mid lane tier 1, unfortunately. Now, what they're going to do, I think, over the course of the next few minutes is allow Fiora to generate pressure in the bottom side of the map. Now, this is now risky. This is a difficult situation for Liyab, because if you leave this and try to go for the Baron, Fiora will just push your inhibitor turret. You can see she's already now pushing onto their side of the map. So this is a tough decision for Liyab. Like you're gonna, hopefully Camille can hold her, but if Camille can't hold her, then this Fiora is going to be a nightmare for Liyab to deal with.
Let's see, and just waiting in the bushes, Fiora is, looks like he's not going to be stopping that Camille to try to be separated away from Liyab Esports. Given the fact that Liyab Esports are actually lacking in terms of number in the middle lane, and even to try to contest that Baron pit, looks like this is something they are not that confident to fully commit. Well, look at that! In the bot lane part of the map, Nixu is actually half life. Looks like he's having a hard time dealing with a Fiora down bot.
Yeah, it's a really hard matchup for Camille, because Fiora just constantly hits you with lunge. Her lunge range is ridiculous. You can never trade back with your precision strikes, your first ability, and so it's a very difficult matchup for Nisu to actually navigate. And Fiora's already dealing a significant amount of damage to the tower. I mean, look at this. She's down to half HP already. Like, Nisu's just going to be forced back, and you can see Liyab are finding it difficult to commit to the Baron. This is the problem. 16-bit, all of that time invested in just trading cross-map towers have allowed Fiora to set up. We have a bit of an engage in the mid lane, but nothing crazy happening just yet.
Yeah, I mean, Rubix just made use of his abilities right over there. Kind of failed to do so, but yeah, this was them not gonna be that much ready to even try to contest that Baron pit. And I think, yeah, you said it already. For as long as the Fiora is able to do his job to go for the split push work, then they might be able to stop Liyab Esports for taking one objective on the other end of the map. And that was just what we saw from a while ago. And I think they can, for as long as they continue doing that, capitalizing on what the Fiora can do, then maybe the chances for 16-bit to go for a comeback play might be higher, but he needs to be very careful. Look at the damage coming from Gambit's misfortune. So yeah, we'll see about that.
Don't please, 16-bit, don't put Fiora in the team fight. You don't need to. Put Fiora on the bottom side of the map. Do the same thing. Threaten the inhibitor tower. Like, make it difficult. Make Liyab's choice hard in this game. That's what you should be doing for sure, especially with the Baron. They have a bit of an engage on the top there already. I mean, look at Fiora's damage.
It's just way too much. Camille gonna go for the Hextech ultimate. I think they're gonna go all in as well. Aurelion Soul to the backup. They lost the Olaf. Liyab Esports is now down with 2 members. Might this be the chance for 16-bit to go for the counter play as they contest the Baron pit? In here, 3 members are trying to go for an attempt. Stuns coming in from that Aurelion Soul, just shoving the members of Liyab. And yes, they just have to give it away rather than giving themselves as a casualty for their team. So yeah, that was quite unfortunate. I mean, the Fiora damage just too real to deal with. The Gragas was all alone onto the top side part of the map. Him getting deleted early on, as well as the Olaf, was the problem. And that was the opening for 16-bit to go for the objectives that I want to take away from Liyab.
Yeah, I mean, now you're starting to see the 16-bit game plan roll out here. They traded cross-map objectives for pure gold. Most of those cross-map objectives involved Fiora. She's now at 13,000 gold value, the highest gold value in the game. She's able to 1v1 anybody, so her split push pressure is unmatched. And all of that time that Fiora was split pushing, especially when the Baron spawned, was buying time to allow Corki to scale up in terms of items as well. Corki's now got a finished Muramana. He's got the Triforce. He's got the GA. So all of that time that 16-bit of sport bought through split push pressure is now coming through in its own. Fiora actually committing to the 5v5 here, maybe working with the team. This is big.
Yes, this is so big with the stars coming out from the Aurelion Zone, just giving the position and the position for his teammates, them taking down the Malphite as well. One man down for the side of Liyab Esports. Could this be it anytime soon? Again, they got the Baron buff as well. Stuns even connecting just so well against the members of Liyab Esports. But ooh, look at that. They're not really gonna be going for that that push, that pressure, and still would want to respect the death timer that Morita Boy has.
Yeah, I mean, I think ending the game can be quite difficult if you're trying to hard force it through the mid lane. They have the Baron, they have the split push side lane pressure. They don't need to take any risks in this scenario. They've already got what they came for, which is the inhibitor. And as you know, once an inhibitor drops in Wild Rift, it's quite difficult. You basically have to go for a Hail Mary team fight and win off a single push. And once 2 inhibitors is dropped, it's so difficult to get back into the game. So, they paint this game by numbers. They don't need to take any risks. I mean, the Fiora is just obscenely strong right now. In the side lane, I really loved this tactic, and I think actually it's something I wish more teams would do, and especially my solo queue teammates. You don't need to run it down for first dragon every game. You can cross map objectives. You can get the standing gold on the map. The dragons aren't actually that important. Like they are important. Don't get me wrong. Like they are obviously things that scale, but like some dragons are better than others. And you can definitely afford to give away dragons if your team comp doesn't suit the fight. And for 16-bit, they realized that their team comp didn't suit the early fights, so why bother trying to take them? Let's just take the free gold through towers. And it's paid dividends now, because that gold has allowed them to accelerate these item builds. It's made the Fiora 10 times stronger. And obviously the Fiora has been the driving force behind this win from 16-bit.
Fiora getting the Guardian Angel already for himself. Man, this is gonna be a hard to take down champion on the side of 16-bit. With him having that 16 gold onto his pocket, that's massive. I mean, a while ago during the draft, we were talking about, okay, could this be a Liyab Esports draft, especially on the 5v5 fights, but this is 16-bit answering, okay, you take away most of the champions that can go for good engages, but then we go for a different strategy. Then we're gonna go for that Fiora, we can go for a split push work, and talking about Fiora, he's going for the chub once more, and this is 16-bit doing so well so far, even though they got we saw a while ago that Liyab Esports dominating in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, this is really, really good stuff from Liyab. Actually, I'm thoroughly 16, but I'm really impressed with the way they've utilized this Fiora. Like I said in the draft, it's the one thing that stuck out like a sore thumb. I felt like it didn't make sense with the team fight comp, but that makes sense when you're using her the way that she should be used. Now she's actually going for a flank play, or at least looking to threaten a flank in this.
Is still there, Joel. Let's see if this Gambit on the Misfortune is still gonna be going for that survive, but no, he's gonna be taken down by the Corki. Now this is just 2 members from the side of Liyab Esports trying to survive. Nixu and Morita Boy, what can they do? I think this could be it anytime soon. Excondrel.
I think it's over. This is 100% a equalizing game from 16-bit.
Oh, there you go. A 1-1 so far. No one doesn't really want to go home yet with 10,000 wild cards. Looks like they're really on heat to try to go for the next round here in the lower bracket. Whew.